Kia ora, good day and welcome to Southern Newsweek. Emergency services were called to a fatal car accident on Kinmont Park in Saddle Hill on State Highway 1 this week. We send Queenstown reporter Mina Amso to demonstrate the correct way to fit snow chains, and Southern District Council is having to go back to the drawing board. Dunedin Police confirmed that one person has died following a crash on the southern motorway near Mosgiel. Emergency services were called to the scene near Chain Hills between Saddle Hill and Kinmont Park on State Highway 1. Police, fire and ambulance services were called to the scene just after 11:35, and police are seeking any witnesses, particularly people travelling in the southbound lane who may have seen something. Dunedin Police say the crash involved a car and a truck. It will be curtains for shopping bags in Balclutha in July. The Clutha District Council has teamed up with the Balclutha New World, Dunedin Curtain Bank and the Clutha Change Collective to provide free shopping bags in support of Plastic Free July. The bags will be made by members of the Clutha Change Collective using material donated by the Dunedin Curtain Bank. They'll be distributed at Balclutha New World during July. And inspired by the Australian idea of boomerang bags, the group has named the bags they're making Koha bags.
Because there's such a huge problem globally with plastic pollution, we're making such a mess of the planet, and it's something that we can get involved and we can actually make a difference in our community.
Clutha District Council Waste Minimisation Officer Steve Clark says it is an environmental initiative. Clark is charged with finding such endeavours that raise awareness and minimise the amount of waste in the district. More volunteers are needed though, and if you are one who can provide your sewing services for the initiative, you are encouraged to contact the council. Fitting chains to vehicle tyres is not the most enjoyable winter activity, admittedly, but there are times and places where they are essential, of course. So, as not to be caught out next time that it snows, Queenstown reporter Mina Amso went to Shotover Engineering, talked with Managing Director Nigel Davey, and got a demonstration on how to fit snow chains.
Even fitting chains to our work car on a nice sunny day was tricky and fiddly. And as Nigel Davey explained, it is even more tricky and more fiddly when you wait until you're in the snow and learn how.
Probably better to have something like an old sack or something to kneel on and a pair of gloves.
A good set of car chains could set you back $200 to $400 each, but Davey warns against buying a cheap set.
A lot of the cheap chain, they just don't go through the hardening process that you get with the more expensive chains. So they might last a season, they might last one trip, they may not, last longer than that, and people generally find out the hard way. You've really got to look at what you're buying. With chains, you do get what you pay for.
To fit a chain on your tyre, first make sure they are entangled. The chain naturally falls into a circle. Feed the yellow part of the chain first from the right-hand side of the tyre.
Make sure both ends come through. Work it up the back of the tyre and hook at the top, and before that drops off, hook up the yellow chain to the blue and push that off the back, and it sits down a similar amount. It wants to be even.
Pull the red buckle chain around.
That goes through there.
And hang the chains to dry after use to avoid them rusting out.
And you pick a spot you can tension it to. And that's it.
Davey says drivers should have a practice run every season to keep the method fresh in their minds. Mina Amso, The South Today.
Cromwell is one of the central Otago towns that received a dumping of snow most recently, to the delight of some who braved the elements. There was enough snow early Saturday morning to enable several snow men, women and snow rabbits to be constructed. There was also plenty of opportunity for young people to have a snowball skirmish. Good on you. The last of the grapes in the Cromwell and Bannockburn area were picked some weeks ago, and so the snow created no problems in vineyards. It simply added to the list of potential photo opportunities available. How pretty. Southland District Council is going back to the drawing board with the Around the Mountains cycle trail after a costly battle with Fish and Game. The council has dropped its High Court appeal to keep the initial route for the trail. Here is the South Today reporter Ruby Spink.
The Southland District Council might have dropped its High Court appeal to regain consents for the Around the Mountains cycle trail along the Upper Oreti River, but Mayor Gary Tong says this is not the end of the multi-million-dollar trail. The council is looking at other options.
The council discussed the concept of whether we have a full stop and don't do any more, or we look at other options, and that's what we're looking at now, is getting a business case together to look at what other options are out there and what other costs. And this isn't assumptions, this is facts.
The District Council announced its decision to drop the appeal on Wednesday, and Tong says it's agreed to pay $175,000 to Fish and Game for its costs during the legal battle. Fish and Game is welcoming the announcement. It objected to the original route because of the importance it places on the Upper Oreti River as an international angling destination.
The Oreti really is the iconic river that drags a lot of tourists to have to visit Southland. There's other good fisheries, but it tends to be the Oreti that they want to fish. They might only want to fish it for one day, and they'll fish a number of other fisheries, but a number of them have indicated through this process that if it wasn't for the Oreti, they wouldn't bother come to Southland. They might stay in Nelson and fish in Kahurangi National Park, or stay in the North Island or somewhere else.
Among the alternative routes being looked at by the council is one along the Mararoa River. Mayor Tong says the council's spent around $1 million of ratepayer money on the legal battle. He says the controversy surrounding the cycle trail is unfortunate, but there are people praising the decision to end the court battle.
I've had a couple of feedbacks from emails and texts along the lines of, you've done the right thing. However, then I've just received an email this morning saying, no, we should have battled Fish and Game. So no matter what we do, there will be fors and against, and really we have to put our hands up and go no more until we can get a business case to go forward, and depending on what those costs will be, or what that decision is and what those costs will be, what we go out to public consultation on.
He says the council will now carry out more consultation over the cycle trail route. I'm Ruby Spink for the South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, it used to process more than 1 million animals, but now Feta meat processing plant is scheduled to close. Welcome back to Southern Newsweek. Silver Fern Farms is proposing to close its Fairton sheep meat plant just north of Ashburton with the loss of 370 jobs. The Fairton plant once processed more than 1 million lambs each season, but the number has declined to less than half of that. The closure was described by the Meat Workers Union as a tragedy for the staff and for the Ashburton community as a whole. In future, the company will process lambs from the Ashburton region at its Paidoa plant just south of Timaru. Dunedin residents may have noticed their city's a bit more purple than usual lately. That's because Toitu Settlers Museum, the Glenroy Auditorium and the Otago Museum are all lit up for World IBD Day, which also coincides with Celiac Awareness Week. Reporter Roselle LeBone has more.
It's Celiac Awareness Week, and a new online tool has been launched to help New Zealanders decide whether to go gluten-free. At the same time, today is also World Irritable Bowel Disorder Day, and Toitu Settlers Museum is just one place that's lighting up in support.
This week we're lighting up purple for Celiac Week. We like to support causes, and if people let us know what particular colour is on for a particular week, we will light up the museum that colour for you.
Inflammatory bowel disease and celiac disease are two immune-mediated diseases. The New Zealand Nutrition Foundation says these conditions are usually aggravated by eating the wrong kinds of food. Once considered a fad, gluten-free products can now be found on supermarket shelves everywhere. Now Celiac New Zealand has developed an online assessment tool where users can go online, take a quiz and receive a referral letter for a GP assessment if they are deemed at risk. Toitū's Jennifer Evans says lighting up the building this week is a small way the museum can get behind Irritable Bowel Disorder Day.
We have as a programmable set of LEDs. They were put in for redevelopment and they were done so that we could do this. So we have the full range of colours, we can program any colour you like.
Evans says she and her family members have their own dietary issues and that often comes with a high price tag.
The celiac certainly I think should be subsidised, or gluten-free bread is wickedly expensive. Much more expensive than ordinary bread. It's a sad fact of the matter is that the cheapest food available is that which is the least nutritious.
Next week the museum will be lit up again for Pink Shirt Day, an anti-bullying initiative.
I think everybody at DCC will be in pink shirts that day.
You're getting started early, I see.
Oh indeed, there's no encouragement for me to wear pink.
Roselle Lebone, The South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, two names that are definitely going to be on your lips, Ed Sheeran and Ian Brady. Welcome back to Southern Newsweek. Tourism Waitaki and the Oamaru Whitestone Civic Trust are celebrating the opening of Whitestone City. The operations manager says the project is at the end of its 9-month gestation period and has had a budget of more than $500,000.
From an empty shell to this in just 9 months. The teams at Tourism Waitaki and the Oamaru Whitestone Civic Trust have practically finished the $600,000 project. Tourism Waitaki's operation manager Wendy Simpson says it's gone very well.
It has been a very long time. We got handed the building on the 22nd of August and we will be opening on May the 22nd, so it's a whole 9 months of hard work.
Simpson outlines what people can expect to see when they enter Whitestone City.
Yeah, we've got people arriving in Ompa Wharf, arriving at our immigration counter, and they've arrived into Oamaru for the very first time. We then head out and down our streetscape where you get to go through a general store, a barber's shop, there's a little Pepper's Ghost there, a little paper boy, an architect's office which has got an amazing projection that's well worth stopping to watch that, and onto our dispensary.
Wendy Simpson says Whitestone City welcomes newcomers to Oamaru's past, but she says Oamaru's newest tourist attraction has also been designed with residents in mind. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Timaru recently farewelled a long-serving bus driver. The South Today was there for Ian Brady's last day on the job as he retires after 35 years behind the wheel. He admits today that he may be just a tad sad as his passenger licence expires, preventing him from commercially driving people around. But Ian Brady has also been a truck driver for more than 50 years, and he'll keep his truck licence for at least another 18 months, although he says he will miss driving his mates to the Pleasant Point Rugby Club. Good on you. Smash Palace's Jeff Omnet is Oamaru's resident garagenalia expert. Yes, it really is a word. The petrol-head collector has amassed a serious collection of all things car-related.
Perhaps I've always been a collector. My oldest item's probably the 1945 Field Marshal tractor, and I've had that over 40 years. And just over the years I've collected the odd thing. It probably got a bit worse when I built a new bar 20 years ago and I needed one petrol pump for the bar, and then of course you can't have a collection of one, so it grew to about 50.
On July the 1st, the bulk of it will be auctioned off to make room for some of his newer, more modern toys. He says the 50-year-old collection, including rare and vintage petrol pumps, could draw a national, even an international crowd of collectors to Oamaru. And a good old-fashioned queue formed at the Regent Theatre in Dunedin at the booking office recently when 50 people were trying, without the aid of a computer, to get their hands on tickets to one of English singer Ed Sheeran's 2 Dunedin gigs. Roselle Lebone joined them.
For those who missed out on the online pre-sale last week, lining up in person for tickets to Ed Sheeran in Dunedin was the next best thing. About 50 people got into single line formation at the Regent to buy tickets for friends, family and loved ones. How's it going? You're the lucky first, are you?
Yes.
And did you miss it on the pre-sale?
Yes.
Is that why you're here?
Yeah, for my parents.
Oh, okay. So you're buying them for your best friend? Wow. And you're going to go with him?
Yeah.
On the night?
Well, I'll drop them off.
So who are you buying tickets for?
My sons.
Oh, your sons, plural?
Yeah, 2 of them, and one of the girlfriends.
I'm coming for my daughter.
Your daughter?
I'm being
that's
supportive,
nice.
yes.
Oh, just you and her? Is it going to be?
And my wife as well.
Oh,
yes,
that's lovely.
the 3 of us,
And
yes.
so you've been nominated, have you?
Yes, I've been nominated to stand in line. Yes.
A chair went up as the bell tolled at the Octagon at 2 p.m, signifying the start of the sale. Some had been there for several hours. There were further delays as those at the counter waited for the printed confirmation showing they had secured tickets which they could then pick up in January.
Tickets are actually on hold till January. But this is, you get to say the proof that you've paid for them, so you come and pick them up after they're actually available.
Some managed to get tickets online while waiting in the queue and abandoned the line altogether.
I haven't bought a ticket.
Oh.
I had to step out of the queue because my daughter at home has got them.
1 or 2 were just there for tickets to the Lions match against the Highlanders or Mary Poppins.
I'm not here, I'm going to Mary Poppins.
Oh, you guys are? What were you buying today?
The Mary Poppins musical tickets.
Ed Sheeran, not really your float.
I won't be here.
And others were simply happy to be getting the afternoon off work. How have you long been here?
Probably an hour or so.
An hour, so
yes.
not too, taking the time off work to do boss
yes.
here?
Yes.
Roselle LeBone, The South Today.
And that wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please be sure to like us on Facebook. We'd appreciate that. Check us out on YouTube and on Twitter, and keep up to date with Southern News via the website channel39.co.nz. I'm Craig Story. This has been Southern Newsweek.